He's going to do another fabulous cooking demo. He's going to make a dish that I absolutely cannot pronounce, so I'll let him tell you the name, but it is an Ethiopian spicy lentil dish, and he is going to be using his amazing spices from local Spicery, which we'll tell you all about. They're done in small batches, and they're in glass jars, and they're non-irradiated, and they're fabulous. I don't know which ones he's going to be using, but I know that you can get 2 free small samples with your order if you use the code Chef AJ. And I can tell you some of my favorites are the pepperoni and the Tosca del Sol and the gingerbread and the apple pie. They're just really, really good spices. So please welcome back to the show from local Spicery, Nick Davoren. How you doing, Nick?
Hi, AJ. It's good to see you again.
Same here. I'm so happy you're doing a demo. I love the demos because I love watching people cook.
Well, this is fun. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Well, good. How's it going in your stores? I guess you're technically closed, right?
Well, actually, our big news is we have the Davoren store open now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see how that works. It's a real different world. You know, we used to have our store set up as a sensory playground where you could come in and smell and sample everything, but we can't do that anymore. But we are open, and if you visit the Davoren store Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you'll see my wife Evelyn there, and she'll be able to tell you about anything.
That is great. So I can pronounce the name of your dish. You want to say it?
It is misir wat.
Okay.
So in Ethiopian cooking, probably the defining flavor is the flavor of a spice blend called berbere. And berbere is usually used for a stew. And if the stew is made with lentils, it's misir wat. And if it's made with a chicken stew, it's doro wat. So we're going to be making a completely AJ compliant, oil-free, salt-free, flavor blast lentil stew.
Sounds good. Are you going to be using your Instant Pot?
I'm not using the Instant Pot. Not that, although you could do. One of the great things about this recipe is we're going to do it the old-fashioned, honest way. But even with the old-fashioned, honest way, you could really pull this off in about 45 minutes from start to finish. But you could easily convert it to Instant Pot or to a slow cooker. A lot of ways you could do it.
That's great. Well, I can't wait to see it.
Are you ready?
You bet.
Okay. Well, the first thing, because we're going to be talking North Africa, I thought that I would welcome you here to my test kitchen in a special way. And that is, I'm going to offer you a cup of tea. And this tea is actually, it's North African. It's from Morocco. It's called Maghreb. And Maghreb in Morocco is the traditional hospitality tea. If you went to visit a friend, the first thing that they would do is pour you a cup of the Maghreb. And Maghreb is a blend of gunpowder green tea and sweet peppermint. It is a lovely, calming both to the head and to the stomach tea. I like it because I can drink it in the afternoon, or I can drink it in the morning. But I'm going to start by welcoming you to my test kitchen with a cup of tea. So we're going to be doing North African. North African has been getting really, really, really popular in the United States. It's been popular in Europe for a long, long time. In fact, one of the things that makes North African cooking so special is, it has, some of those, organic African flavors, the deep, rich flavors of nigella and long pepper, but it's also got a very strong European influence, both French and Spanish. Because, of course, for centuries, there was back and forth between North Africa and Spain and France. In fact, the flavors of North Africa can be found as commonly on the streets in Paris as a Chinese restaurant can be found in New York. So we love cooking North African. We love the Watts, and we love berbere. And part of the reason why is berbere is one of those really, really powerful flavors that hits every part of the senses. So for people that are cooking and trying to live without salt in their without any added salt in their foods, This one has it's very spicy. I'd be kidding you if I didn't say it had no heat. So it has some heat to it, but it's also a big bomb of curry type flavors. It's got sweet. It's got a little bit of, it's got sweet. It's got the heat. It's got a little bit of sour, and all of those kind of compensate in the mouth for the lack of salt. This is one dish you could serve to your boss at dinner, and he would walk out not even thinking that you're a vegan, because it's so satisfying.
I didn't realize it was pronounced Berberet. I've been pronouncing it wrong all these years.
No, you're actually right. So I've had people come into our stores from Ethiopia and Eritrea, and I've had three distinct pronunciations: Berber, Berberet, and Berberi. As a Twitch, I want to say Berberet, Berberi. But anyway, I digress. I've always called it Berber, and I'm wrong, and you're right. I think that Berberet probably is the more correct, and I haven't dug in to find out if there's a distinction between Eritrean and Ethiopian, but I have had different people tell me different things. I want to talk a little bit about the flavors that go into Berberet. I have here a tray. This is the Berber blend. It's got, if you turn it around, it's got a lovely reddish color. It's primarily a blend of chilies, and the blend of chilies then have a backbone of some lovely curry flavors. The curry flavors that come forward to my palate most, you get a strong taste of ginger. You get a very, very strong taste of this. So these are Fenugreek seed. Fenugreek is not commonly used in Western cooking. It's very, very popular in Indian cooking and in North African cooking. The actual #1 use for fenugreek in the world today is just the principal ingredient for maple flavoring. So when you're tasting something and you think you get a little bit of a maple flavor, it's probably the fenugreek. Fenugreek also has some unique health benefits. It's very, very useful to women who are nursing because it emulates certain hormones. It's also a powerful anti-inflammatory and a powerful antioxidant. Has one of my favorite flavors as well, which is cardamom seed. These are the green cardamom pods. Cardamom is an amazing, has an amazing aroma. It is sweet and at the same time, I mean, what do you say, poetic. Cardamom in Ayurvedic medicine is actually used just aromatically as an antidepressant. Just smell it. So you could keep a jar like this at your desk at work, and it's your little cardamom joy jar. Trust me, I do that. It's pretty good. Of course, we have some cinnamon. Wouldn't have any Middle Eastern tones without some coriander, some allspice. This is a little bit unique. I don't know many people are familiar with this. This is the Indonesian long pepper, these long things. It's in the same family, but not the same species as black pepper. It does have piper in it, which is what gives black pepper its heat and characteristic flavor. But the flavor to long pepper is just, it's one of those incredibly rich umami flavors. And if you're ever cooking something and you think you got the basic flavor good, it just feels light. It doesn't have any depth. Some ground long pepper is just amazing. I've actually had a number of chefs come to me with blends that they've been working on, and they just can't figure out how to give it that punch. And I'll just put a little bit of long pepper in and send it back to them, and I'll get this. How did you do that? And that's my secret. I mean, long pepper, it's amazing what it does, to give it that depth and richness. And then for sweetness, there's just a little bit of clove to it. So that's the basics of Berber, and that is the main flavor that we're going to be getting in this dish. So why did I choose to do a misir wat? And the reasons why are, it is intensely flavorful and delicious and satisfying and ridiculously simple to make. You won't believe how quickly this comes together. AJ and I will have to start doing shadow puppets and telling jokes because we'll have extra time. I'll talk about some of the ingredients that we're going to be using. Primary is the lentils. It's traditional to use red lentils, which is what I'm using. They're very small. They cook very, very quickly. Tomato. And so for tomato, I wrote the recipe using canned tomato. I've spent some time in the grocery store, and it's pretty hard to find canned tomatoes that don't have either salt, sodium chloride in it, or a potassium chloride or citric acid. Now, I know that for the unlimited weight loss program, it's only sodium chloride that you have to stay away from. But for me, I like to stay away from anything that's highly processed. And anything that is primarily a chemical, although I know it's not bad for you just because it comes from a laboratory. But I like, when I'm cooking, I kind of tie back to the cottage years when people cooked what they grew and cooked what they foraged. And I like to have the connection to where my food comes from, and I like to try to avoid those. So I do find these, and I got these just at my regular grocery store, Rayleigh's Market in Grass Valley. They're Italian. They are just pure tomatoes. There's no other ingredient to it. Likewise, I use tomato paste, and for the tomato paste, you'll find the same thing. One of the things that I think we all have found when we get on the unlimited weight loss program is, first of all, you can't go to the grocery store without a pair of reading glasses, because we're all going to be reading the label very carefully. And secondly, we're going to read the label very carefully. And these are, this is an Italian product. It's just pure tomato. So if there's no reason why you have to use canned. If you've got an abundance of fresh tomatoes, you can just use fresh tomatoes. It's better. But I do find that with the Doro Wat, when you add a little bit of the tomato paste, you get an intrinsic richness and a darker red color that's pleasing. We have, most curries that begin with a saute, and we're going to be sauteing onion with a little bit of garlic, and we're going to be adding some fresh ginger as well to the saute, and then to give it just a little bit more a little bit more punch to it, we're going to add some carrots. If you want to punch this up to make it a more hearty dish, you can certainly add any kind of vegetable that you like. I've made it with added chickpeas. I made it with 3/4 inch dice sweet potatoes. It goes extremely well with sweet potato or with a white or yellow potato. You can put anything you want in this. This is a very, very forgiving dish. So let's get started. Let's see. Fire up. Move the tea away for later. So with North African dishes, it's very typical that you will find a high heat content. It's not generally hot like Thai food is hot. Thai food gets so hot, your face turns red and you start dripping sweat, and it gets uncomfortable. But it does clearly have a bite to it, so you can expect that. If you're sensitive to levels of heat, you can just cut back on the content of the Berber that you do. And the way we're going to do this, I'll show you. I like to put the spices in just at the end of the saute, so the spices have an opportunity to toast, and it releases some additional aromatics. So you can do that with just 1 tablespoon of the Berber, and then later add another one if you want more. You can season it to taste at that point, and so if you're sensitive, you can have a less hot dish. But we're just kind of doing a coarse dice on the onion.
Nick, somebody says that Infinite Love and Gratitude says that you remind them of the cool dad in the movie 16 Candles.
What's that?
You remind her of the cool dad, the father in the movie 16 Candles.
Oh, by the way, you reminded me. I have to say hi to someone special that's watching, my mother-in-law up in Washington, and Barbara. Hi from sunny California. I hope things are going well up there.
Yeah, tell her to post and we'll give her a shout out.
Okay. So yeah, we just, the onions, we let them go. We don't want to cook them to the point that they turn brown, but to the point that they get translucent and they get soft. I'm already having a little bit of trouble. They're starting to brown a little bit fast. I think I started overly aggressive with my pot here, so let me get some water. Well, I got that. So I pulled the classic Julia Child. I'm starting to learn how to do these cooking demonstrations. You prep everything in advance so you don't make stupid mistakes. I already peeled my garlic cloves for this. So you saw I used one medium onion that I chopped, and then I got about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic here. It kind of depends on how big the cloves are. This is not a dish that is traditional. You know, it's not like cooking Italian where you want a huge burst of garlic flavor, but you do want a little bit of that just slightly acrid flavor that comes off the garlic. And for people that are wondering about a recipe on this, we'll be posting that in our newsletter, which will come out by the end of the week. And I want to apologize. We do have some people from the last time I did this that signed up for the newsletter and didn't get it. We do have your addresses, and I'm hoping that tomorrow or the next day, you'll be getting an email directly from me with the recipe and a link to the show if you want to go back to it. So I don't mince the garlic too much. You can if you want, but I like to find little bits of product in my food like that. And in my recipe, it says, I think I write out a tablespoon of fresh ginger. I really think about thumb size. So I kind of look at my thumb and put it up against it, and don't cut the thumb, but we cut the garlic and just take out that much. Normally with ginger like this, I like to grate it. I didn't bring a grater with me, so I'm just going to chop it, and that actually will probably end up being quite nice because when you're eating, you'll get little chunks of ginger. Will give you bursts of tangy, hot flavor. Okay, the onions are getting close. It's just unbelievable how quickly this meal goes. We're most of the way through here. Ginger, I do like to mince it pretty well. Even though this is going to cook for a while and it'll soften, ginger's fairly fibrous, so I don't like to get too big a chunk in my food. No reason why you couldn't substitute dried garlic for this, although fresh garlic just has that wonderful sweetness to it. There we go. Okay, we're just going to mix those a little bit, let them combine, just let the aromatics come off. I'll turn this down just a bit so when I add my spice blend, so you don't want to burn the spices, but you do want to just kind of toast them as they hit and blend with the onions and the aromatics are released. I'm pretty comfortable with this recipe and I know how much I like, so I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 tablespoons of the Berber spice in.
Okay, so people are asking for the recipe, so they're going to go to localspicery.com, right?
They can go to localspicery.com, or if you've signed up for our newsletter, or if you follow us on Facebook, you'll also get it there.
We got a couple of people watching, Ethel and Thomas.
Yeah. Okay. So then, at this point, you want to have some kind of liquid handy that you can add to slow down the cooking, because you do not want to burn your spices, and they're smelling just about right now. So this box, the recipe is written for a 14.5-ounce can of tomatoes. This box is almost the equivalent to 2 cans. So I'm just going to put half of it in. If you wanted to use fresh tomatoes, I would go with either 1 large tomato or 2 medium tomatoes would be just about right. I chop them up to about a 1/4-inch dice. There's that. Let's get some cold water. So this recipe also generally calls for broth, and I'm going to do something a little bit different because I don't have broth with me. So I'm going to show you something that we've been working on. It's not yet available, but we're really excited about it. Let's just put instead of broth, I'm just going to put some water in there, 2.5 cups. There's 2. And at this point, I'm trying to just load the liquids in to stop the saute from cooking, so that I'm not going to burn the spices. But just like I said, I just want to toast them. I want to release the aromatics. All right, let's put the tomato paste. Three tablespoons of tomato paste, which is just slightly less than half of a can. Mix that up a little bit. And here's what I was talking about earlier. This is a new product I'm actually working on with AJ, and this is a vegetable broth powder that I put together. When you don't have broth, but you want the rich flavor of a broth, you can add it usually at a ratio of about a tablespoon per cup. So that's 2.5 cups of water I put in. I'm going to put 2.5 cups of the broth powder. The broth powder is just made up of dried milled vegetables. In this case, I selected some sun-dried tomato powder, which many of you have already purchased and used from us. It's got a little bit of onion powder. It's got some carrot powder, and it has some milled dried porcini mushroom, which gives it some more richness and depth. And the amazing thing, I don't have the capability to bring the camera right up here right now, but when you add the powder right now, it's just phenomenal how quickly the dish begins to thicken right away. So I'm going to make sure I get my my lentils in there. And then we'll do some carrots. So I think I said this same thing about carrots on my last cooking demonstration, but I have been a complete convert this year. Carrots was one thing I didn't normally buy at a farmer's market. I thought that carrots were just too pedestrian, and why take the extra effort? But fresh grown carrots, oh my goodness, it's 180 degrees different from what you get in the grocery store. They are sweeter, they are richer, they are so much more flavorful. So these are carrots from my local farmer's market here up in Chico, California. And I'm slicing these at just slightly less than a 1/4 inch slice. I cut them on the bias. The reason why I'm trying to cut them a little bit thinner is just that the carrot is going to cook a little bit faster. By doing that, the thinner, the faster it cooks. All right, so there's the carrots. And believe it or not, that's really all that we do. I mean, the rest is you just leave it to simmer and come back and stir it occasionally. In about 30-40 minutes, it'll be ready. You want to pull it and serve it when the carrots are soft enough to eat, and the lentils are soft as well. I have this over here cooking away that I made just before we came live, so I can show you what it looks like when you're done. I'll bring it up. And that's your Doro wad. Traditionally, this would be served with it's a soft type of a flatbread from Ethiopia that's kind of a little bit spongy, but we like it with any kind of grain. It goes very well with with rice, with quinoa, with whatever's your grain. We were talking, AJ, this probably be really good on oat groats, and it would be it's a nice thing just to bring for your lunch to throw on top of a baked potato to add some flavor. So that was it. That's all you had to do. It's a very, very simple dish, but it's a very powerful flavor, and it's restaurant quality food that you could serve to entertain and impress, or you could do this on your Thursday night. I'm not going to cook, you cook kind of dinner.
And look, that looks great, and it didn't take you any time at all. Veronica wants to know if you do worldwide shipping.
We only ship domestically right now, and I know we've had a lot of requests from people, particularly from Canada and from Australia, and we just haven't been able to figure it out. The laws are well, let's just say they're vague. Some people say it's okay just to ship and it doesn't matter, but then there's also the food safety laws that require that we go through the full importation. And if we have to go through the full importation, we just can't afford to do it in the quantities that we work in. So
Okay.
stay with us. We're going to keep working on it, but we don't have a good answer yet. So for now, we're just domestic.
All right. Thomas says, I'll try that vegetable spice in our balsamic. You'll never know. It could be killer. Well, yeah, they use Nick's spices in his newest flavor, 7 Herb Italian, and it's really delicious. Giselle says, what kind of lentils did you use?
I use red lentils. Just these were organic red lentils.
Yeah, I think red are so much prettier.
Yeah, they're pretty. They have. I'm going to point this so that I can hear you better. They have just a little bit greater depth of flavor, and they're very small, so they cook quickly, which is a nice feature.
Nice. You got any new other spices you're working on?
I think the big news is going to be these broths, and we're very, very close on them. In fact, I'm going to be sending you some samples shortly to tell me what you think. I
can't wait because I just don't like buying things in boxes. I had a guy on yesterday for an alternative to making plant milk because it just, I just feel bad every time I buy a box.
Yeah. Well, actually, my wife told me we have a new. This is it's your basic everything but the bagel topper. We're going to call it the Show Topper Stopper. It's a name we got from Tammy Kramer when we asked people on the internet for their ideas, and it was a great idea. So the Show Topper Stopper will be available probably within a week, and it's a completely salt-free, everything but the bagel type blend with onion, garlic, poppy seed, sesame seed, black sesame seed.
That sounds great because I use that in one of my recipes. I actually have a bagel recipe on my YouTube channel that I love. And so that's fantastic. Shane says, did he say broth? Yes, he did.
Yeah, we're really, we've been cooking a lot with these broths, and they have vastly exceeded my expectations. I'm really, really excited. Mostly I'm excited about how they work as a thickener as well as for the flavor. You get a lot of flavor off of just a little bit of this stuff. And
well, once they're perfected, we'll have you come back and demonstrate them and talk about the different flavor profiles. Giselle said, would your recipe work well with chickpeas?
Is that chickpeas instead of lentils? It would, you know, it wouldn't thicken quite the same way. So you might want to cook it a little longer and reduce it. But yeah, it would be delicious with chickpeas. In fact, I've done this with the lentils and just add chickpeas to give it a little bit greater carry, and that works very well as well.
Nice. You guys have any other questions for Nick? Check out localspicery.com and see all the wonderful spices, including a ton of SOS-free spices like Pepperoni Spice, which I love. And I think I'm using the Tosca del Sol even more now. That's maybe become my new favorite.
Isn't that a great flavor?
It's so good on potatoes. I make like fries out of it. It's delicious.
The interesting genesis behind that. That was a commissioned blend. A big company came to us and wanted help. This is a company that makes food for high-end athletes, and you know where the athletes can buy pre-made food packages, and they know exactly what the protein content, salt content, fat content, etc. So from the standpoint of the science and the health, they had it dialed in. But they found out that on their Facebook page that athletes were trading what kind of spices do you put on that, because the stuff was really pretty bland. So they asked me to come up with 4 blends for them that could go on anything that they could then sell. We ended up the project didn't go anywhere. We got paid for our service, and it was a really fun project. But we couldn't get the cost down low enough for them. They were looking at an initial purchase in 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of spices at a time, and we just couldn't get them the quality of product at a low enough price for it to work for them. But we did get out of it the Sole della Toscana, which is one of the 4 blends that we made for them, and it's a winner.
That's fantastic. So there's a question. Where did it go? From Stephanie. What is the difference between lemongrass and lemon verbena, and what are some uses of each?
Oh boy, totally different. And I wish I could tell you what the what exact family the two come from, but they're very different. The lemongrass grows in a large fibrous frond, and lemon verbena looks more like a traditional herb. It's a small bush with small leaves. The lemon verbena has it has some almost like an oregano to a za'atar kind of a flavor to it, but it's tinged with a unmistakable citrus flavor to it. And whereas lemongrass mostly used in infusions, and when infused, it's got an intensely citrus sweet flavored liquor that comes from it. Lemon verbena, I think of that as, my wife here. Here's a jar of each one, if you can see. You can see they're very, very different in how they look. I don't know if you can see those.
That's pretty far away. You're going to have to come a little closer.
My screen's really small, so I can't tell what you guys see. The one that's on my right, this one is the lemongrass, and you can see they're really long pieces of stalk that are cut up. And the lemon verbena looks more like a traditional herb. I think of lemon verbena as kind of European, and I would use it in soups and stews, whereas the lemongrass is a very traditional flavor used in teas, and so I think almost exclusively of infusions for the lemongrass. We use lemongrass in a number of our teas here, but I like to use it. We talk about broths. Broths are just an infusion, and I've done Thai curries where instead of using a broth, I'll use a strong infusion of lemongrass, which gives you that sweet citrusy flavor that goes so well with Thai food.
Nice. Apple says, does local Spicery make a windmill cookie spice mix?
A window cookie spice mix?
A windmill cookie spice mix. I think they're called Specula's cookies.
Oh, no, we don't. But that is a great flavor. I don't do that now.
Nice. Let's see. Colleen says, is there a code we need to enter when ordering?
So all you need to do is, the first screen you get in the order is your cart. And then when you proceed to checkout, on the top right, there's a box that says order comments. And in that box, just mention AJ. That's all you do, and that'll key us in, and we will add in your box 2 free samples of SOS-free spices. You can request particular blends that you want to try. I think we have probably a 90% success rate of being able to give people exactly what they want. Sometimes we can't do it because we just don't have it blended right now, and we can't get it together for you. But we do try. So if you're dying to try something, you request it. You have a pretty good chance that you'll get an opportunity to try it.
Cheryl says, how the dish that you made, how is it traditionally served?
So it's served on a Moroccan cooking is traditionally eaten without utensils. It's eaten with a flatbread. And the name of the flatbread, I could come close to approximating it, but I would butcher it and embarrass myself. But it's a flatbread that has kind of a spongy texture to it. I know that it's made with a natural leavening, so it's like a sourdough leavening process that makes it. And they use the bread both as the dish and they use it as the utensil to scoop it up.
The injera, right?
Injera, exactly.
Yeah, nice. You can get that gluten-free as well, which is nice. I've seen that.
That's great. I love it. I've looked at it and thought about trying to make it, but anything that requires working with a yeast or a starter is just beyond me. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at.
There is a vegan Ethiopian restaurant in Los Angeles called Rahel's, and she'll even do oil-free there if any of you live in the area.
So is in Harrow is it on the correct side of the red line for ultimate weight loss?
But yeah, she'll do it. She'll do an oil-free there, so it's great. Yep, and she'll do regular as well, but it's completely vegan.
Cool. Let's check that out.
Guys have any other questions for Nick? We look forward to the broths, that's for sure. Here, Sharon says, I was wondering if they could get together with California balsamic and create a sweet chili dipping sauce. That sounds delicious.
I know are you still on, Thomas? I'm into it. Thomas and I have agreed we want to collaborate on about a half a dozen products. So something like that could easily come together. We'll talk about it for sure.
Paul says he's made injera many times and it gets easier. Yeah, that would be great. That's a great marriage, you guys. Seriously, you can sell his, he can sell yours, and you can make things together. I love it.
Well, and Thomas is such a nice guy. It makes it really easy to work with. So.
Yeah, and you're both great guys, and you both have amazing products. So anything else you want to discuss, or you want to go eat that now?
I think I'm good. This came together faster than I even thought it would, but I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys try it. It's one of my favorite dishes.
Yeah, well, thank you. And it looks amazing, and it doesn't look too difficult to make at all. So I think people will make it. So remember, hop on over to localspicery.com if you want to get your 2 free samples with your order, though, by just putting my name somewhere on that order form. And if you want the recipe, you can go to the website, or your Facebook is also Local Spicery, same for your Instagram, right?
Yep.
Great.
Well, if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, if you just go on the website and loiter for about 30 seconds, it'll offer to sign you up. So pretty easy to do. And we're not one of those places you have to worry about us stuffing your inbox. In fact, we get more complaints from people that we don't do enough.
Yeah. Another question just came in from Shane. What cooktop do you have?
Cooktop.
Cooktop, like what were you cooking on?
Oh, this is it's just your basic induction burner. This is a commercial induction burner. It's made by Glow. We got it at the local kitchen store. Induction burners are wonderful. They're incredibly fast and incredibly powerful. You don't have to have an open flame. So they're just perfect for demonstrations.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Thomas is still here, and he said that the next flavor they're working on as a collaboration is pumpkin spice balsamic. That sounds fantastic for the fall.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Stephanie says, is the Sol della Tosca just like the sun-dried tomato powder with added garlic? It is, but it's more, I think. So I'll let Nick answer.
Yeah, it's actually quite a bit more. I mean, the main flavors are the sun-dried tomato and garlic, but it's also got a powerful rosemary flavor and then a real, rich depth that comes from porcini mushroom, and there is a little bit of heat to it. Some nice sweet hot chilies as well.
Cool. Let's see, one more question. They're asking if you, Kathleen says, can I see inside the pot?
Inside this pot or that pot?
I'm not sure. Maybe both.
I'll do both. You can see where this one's at by now. Just stir it up. We'll bring it right up. That's what we just made. But I'll show you the one off the stove, which has been simmering for about an additional half hour. And when it is totally cooked, it looks like this. And those lentils will be very soft, and the tomatoes and the carrots will have just a little bit of bite to them.
Have you ever frozen it?
Yeah, it freezes well. Actually, it freezes very well.
Nice. All right. Well, usually when the guests make something, they want to get off as quickly as possible and eat it. So I will let you go. Thank you so much. Please come back when those broths are ready. And thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow at 11 when we have Jasmine Leyva, the filmmaker of the wonderful film, The Invisible Vegan. And now you're going to make that dish invisible, aren't you?
We're working on it. That's our lunch today here at the mill.
I know that's, I think, one reason that's so great about doing these demos at 11 o'clock, at least in California, is that you get to eat lunch right afterwards. Take care so much. Thanks, Nick.
It's great to see you, AJ. We miss you.
Okay, take care. Bye, everybody.